posed as a certificate holder. So we ended up having doctors who have never written them out with some monies and whatever it is, and awarding people, oh, so you are doctor so and so. And we had many, many other people who were purporting to be having true certificates. We actually had surgeons who had never finished the surgery courses. We had teachers who were actually teaching in classrooms, but they didn't have certificates. And I remember when we started, the UK government started supporting Tanzanian government to improve public sector. This issue came at face, and we designed a program called Public Sector Reforms Program. And one of the interventions was to try to curb out excellence in the civil service. So we came up with a program called LAWSON, or Human Resource Capital Management Information System. And for 10 years in a row, we were trying to see how best can we have right people doing the right jobs with the right skills. And it took almost $100 million US, World Bank's money and DFID's money. But these quacks were still in the system. It took Honorable Magufuli 18 months with probably very, very little money to chase all those guys who did not have right certificates out of the system. But I think this is only a half good news. The other half is that those who are remaining now, who have certificates, most of them cannot do the job. So this is why we want to come up and see again, how do we move forward and see to it that we complement that which is not important to be able to add value to the certificates, which we think are quite important. Now, if you look at the Bible, they are quite interesting model of how people used to build their skills and the way God had set it. You know, it was not really through a lecture, a classroom intervention. It was more through apprentice, learning by doing, by seeing, by observing, and by being associated with someone who's doing such a skill. So in the Bible times, if Abraham wanted to raise Isaac, and they wanted Isaac to be a patriarch like him, to be someone who can hold wealth and keep people and, you know, manage his estate, he could not send him to a bachelor in actuarial sciences. He would take him home and stay with him and run him through everything that he did. And if Joseph wanted to make Jesus a better carpenter in Bethlehem, he would not really send him out to Veta. He would do that work himself. And that's why if you read in the book of Deuteronomy chapter 6, verse 6, it is saying, these words, meaning the words of God, but also the career, the skills, teach them to your children. Impress them upon your children. When you wake up early in the morning, when you walk out in the courtyard, when you go to sleep, and when you sit down. So it was kind of 360 degrees, coaching, mentoring, apprentice, and making sure that whoever is being instructed can follow through in all aspects of the task. It was not only about certificates. It was about character, it was about competence, it was about the content of the job itself, and it was about everything that is associated with the work itself. If you look at the heroes in the Bible, some of the career guys who really excelled well, and the way they were being transformed. You take the case of David, or Daniel, for example. When he is taken out of Israelis' influence and is taken to another culture, to Babylon, the first thing those guys address is to make sure that they induct him in a 360 degrees manner. It is not only about certificate. So they are concerned about character, language, even name, food, all those other things. You see, because nowadays we lose that focus, this is why we have very irresponsible career people. You have the best medical doctor, but he cannot decide what to eat. So he drinks alcohol during work, and he goes and he eats nyama choma, and eats stupidly. At age 40, he cannot even sustain himself. He can't stand for 3 hours doing an operation. They have to bring a stool to him so that he can support himself, because he did not take good care of himself because he could not control his mouth. So many, many other things that are associated with these issues of focusing on paper as opposed to focusing on the actual task at hand. So, when we go to school, the college will award you with some paper at the end of the day, and that paper will become kind of a gate pass to bring you into the career. But unfortunately, that paper will not determine your next promotion. It will not even determine your next paycheck. It will only determine the entry level. And that's why many people enter into the career life and they keep mark time there until when they retire. They don't really move among the ranks to become the who's. They cannot make it to the corner office. They can't be even directors or managers because they are not really able to add value to that which career wants. They're only able to come with a paper and then they're stuck right in there. So the university will give you the paper, but what will matter most, number one, is content. Now in content, what we simply mean by this is that this is a value label, what is right within the award. For example, you're doing a degree, a bachelor in accounting. Now the content would be, what is it exactly in the accountancy profession that you can do? Are you good at what? There are so many accountants. So in any typical organization, there would be a full department packed by accountants. So it is that which you know, that which can make you distinguish yourself out of others, that will help you move and have an edge above them, and at some point in time, assume some responsibility and some leadership over and above them. So if you are just like anybody else, you're just like any other accountant, then your game plan will not take you anywhere. You'll end up an accountant and you'll retire as an accountant. So the content would be that kind of skill that you picked up, but which you can really do well and excel into. What are the principles associated with that field that you are good at? What are the laws? What are the theories, the practices, the things that are really within that particular profession, but which can help you to really claim professionalism? You cannot say, I'm a good architect, if we've not seen a good architectural design coming out of you. So that kind of content which you are able to give out is what can distinguish you as a profession. Now, the college, by that time, would not have been with you. You stay in the college for the first 3-4 years, and then you stay in your career for the next 30 years, for example. So the content of what you studied would start from when you are at the college, but it will move with you all the years that you'll be doing your work. So that is why when your lecturer is giving you the stuff, he's only opening up. He's only telling you that this is how things should be done. The actuality of exactly what needs to be done will come out of your mind and intellect. And because God has designed us in a unique way, we can imagine, we can think, we can bring value to what we know. This is what is now needed to help you develop your content. Lecturers cannot give you this. They can only tell you what has already happened. You know, what I found out in a lecturing career when I was doing one was quite interesting. Unlike in other jobs that we do out in the streets there, the lecturers are so much concerned by the past. So they teach you, if it is principles of mechanics, so they will teach you what had happened many years, and what has been found out, and what has been published. And by the time they teach you, actually, he stands quite, at the pulpit, right there in front of you. So he's having a PhD, and the rest of you are having even not a degree. So the level of argument and the quality of discussion cannot take you very far, because you are not engaging the equals. It's unlike when I'm sitting in the boardroom with my counterpart from the World Bank, and another one from the African Development Bank, and another one from USAID, or from someone is joining us by VC. So we are all experts, and everybody knows his task well, so we can talk business. But as to you guys, ole wenu, because those guys who are giving you stuff, they are the stars, and you end up admiring them. And unfortunately, because the way the systems are set, they are only telling you the history of the staff. They are not telling you the future of the staff. So that is why if you cannot move an extra mile to seek for more, you become very irrelevant the moment you are out of the university gates. So for Tanzania especially, we've been having a lot of this problem. Guys come out with first class, second class upper, 3.4 GPA. But when he comes out there and you give him a task to do, he is really floating. He cannot really show much of the content because he did not dive deep into that profession.
All over the world, lift up your voice. chosen generation. We've been called for to show His excellence. Hey, all I require for life, God has given me, and I know who I am. We are a chosen generation. We've been called for to show His excellence. All I require for life, God has given me, for I know who I am. I know who God says I am, what He says I am, where He says I'm at. I know who I am. I know who God says I am, what He says I am, where He says I'm at. I know who I am. I'm working in power, I work in miracles, I live a life of favor, for I know who I am. I'm working in power, I work in miracles, I live a life of favor, for I know who I am. Hey. Hey. We are a chosen generation. We've been called for to show His excellence. Yeah. All I require for life, God has given me, and I know who I am. We are a chosen generation. We've been called for to show His excellence. All I require for life, God has given me. I know who God says I am, what He says I am, where He says I'm at. I know who I am. I know who God says I am, what He says I am, where He says I'm at. I know who I am. I'm walking in power, I walk in miracles, I live a life of favor, for I know who I am. Say, I'm walking in power, I walk in miracles, I live a life of favor, for I know who I am. Everybody shout I know who I am. Lift your voice, shout I know who I am. Wave your hands, shout I know who I am. What are you? I am holy. Come on. I am righteous. So rich. I am beautiful. I'm walking in power, I walk in miracles, I live a life of favor, for I know who I am. I'm walking in power, I walk in miracles, I live a life of favor, for I know who I am. Take a look at me, I'm a wonder. It doesn't matter what you see now. Can you see His glory? For I know who I am. Take a look at me, I'm a wonder. It doesn't matter what you see now. Can you see His